Hello, this is Mark Mitchell from Wizard Strategy. Great to talk to you again. Today, I've got my good friend Brian Baker from Dodecahedron Design on this episode with me. Brian and I are good friends, and we've known each other for years, and just compare notes about things that we see in the industry, changes, new ideas, and so forth. And one of the things that we both became aware of in the last several months was just the importance of a locator, your dealer or contractor locator on companies' websites, because it just seemed to us that the companies just kind of look and say, oh, I have to have a locator on my site as a convenience to my customer. It's really just a map that gives directions. But when you look at it, that it's kind of like the end of the journey, the purchase journey for the customer. When they get to that point when they want to know where to buy it, that's a very critical point. And most companies are just literally saying goodbye. They don't continue to stay involved. They're like, did you find our product at that dealer? What did you think of it? Can we help you? They spend all this time and money to bring people to their website, to have a great website, and to then do nurturing campaigns with marketing automation programs. But then when it finally gets to that, I'm ready to find out where to buy, it's like most companies just say goodbye to the customer. They don't keep them engaged. And as we were looking at this, Brian and I started talking about the role of distributors and the challenge that distributors face today. As with many businesses, it's getting more and more competitive. And distributors have other competitors, other distributors to compete with, but they also have more and more things like e-commerce or other ways that people can get products. And so they have to continue to stay relevant, viable, competitive, preferred, whatever words we want to use, and they also, have to stay cost competitive. So it isn't like they can just throw money at this by hiring more salespeople or spending more on advertising or something like that. And when we were looking at the locator for manufacturers, all of a sudden we started to say, wow, how important is a manufacturer's locator to a distributor? And we're going, it's probably pretty important. And how many different lines does the distributor carry? And so every one of those websites probably has a locator, which hopefully the distributor is listed on. But does the distributor know who's looking at them? Does the distributor have an opportunity on the locator to point out maybe why they're better? Or if they're having special events or promotions or loyalty programs or things like that? And that's really what got my mind turning, was like, literally, here's this, if you will, free asset that distributors are not taking full advantage of. And from there, Brian saw a couple of other important ways that distributors should look at locators. And so, Brian, welcome to the show, and give us a little background about your take on how did you get to this point? As I just told my story of how I got to this point.
Well, we did, I worked with GAF for many years. And one of the great innovative things we did was we really leaned into and understood the digital channel, right? So how are people trying to buy building materials? And in so many cases, they're not starting off by seeking a brand. They're starting off by seeking in GF's case, a roofing contractor. And so to tap into that, we built this local roofing contractor directory to intercept people on the way to a roofing contractor and preferentially connect them with people that were going to have a high brand affinity to us. And I think that same situation, although not exactly identical, really kind of exists for distribution. Today, to me, it seems like they're very under leveraged in digital. So when I search for a local distributor branch or roofing distributor, I don't see listings of all their individual locations today. And there's a huge amount of search volume there. There are hundreds of thousands of people a month trying to find these locations. And they're not really sort of well equipped to intercept those folks and route them to, the best dealer, best distributor for their particular purpose. Is sort of, the first insight. That's really sort of how well are distributors on their own plugged into that channel. There really are two other ways, though, that distributors should start thinking about digital. And these really are opportunities that are more at the network level rather than sort of we're going to try one thing or another thing. It's every single manufacturer website is spending dollars to drive people to their website to convince people that their products are the best. And then they give them a path to purchase that usually is going to refer you down one of a couple of paths, either to a distributor or to an installer. And it's that path to a distributor that is just incredibly immature today. So many of these guys don't have a good sense of, now that we've funneled all these people down, I've given them a phone number or maybe a website, and they're not really capturing and routing and nurturing those people. They're not really doing a whole lot to plug them all the way in through the distributor, making sure that those things are closing properly. And on the distribution side, it's not clear from their current digital programs how aware they are of this phenomenon, how much referral traffic they're getting from all of these websites and what they're doing to sort of ingest that, right? And make sure, and really to understand that people, by the time they're coming to their websites, they've been sold on products, right? They've convinced themselves that they like a particular product and they're ready to buy it. And so there's really just a gap there, right? In terms of visibility, in terms of what's happening, in terms of technical capabilities that kind of need to be realized. And I think that's a huge opportunity. It's almost like distributors have a free ad network. They have a free digital advertising network that exists on every building materials manufacturer websites. So if I'm an ABC or I'm an SRS, I've got little ad listings on all these websites. And what would happen to my business if, we made all those listings better, or we made our location stand out, or we made it easier for people to buy, or we really were looking at and measuring what's happening to all those people and making sure they have a good experience that leads to a purchase. So that's sort of the second opportunity. And the third opportunity is, and I don't think any distributor is really thinking about this, but they actually do a number of things to help individual installers and contractors today. So I've seen distributors where they're building websites for contractors and they're helping them with their marketing materials, right? How do they sell and market their business? But the one thing they could do that would be more powerful than any of those things would be to intercept all those searches for a roofing contractor, a decking contractor, a siding contractor, and really have their own hub of preferred installers on their website. There's nothing more valuable you could do for those businesses than to actually, market them and drive leads through that you can measure and close sales that, they're going to purchase the products from your location. So that's really the third opportunity. And, Home Advisor is sort of parked in that space, but I think that the much more natural, alignment here is for these folks to be attached to a distributor, right? That's who they're actually going to buy from. And everybody in that process is incentivized to make sure that the homeowner has a good experience, contractor has a good experience, and the distributor has a good experience. Whereas other sort of just lead generation networks today, they and a homeowner won't really understand this, but they're not actually Home Advisor's customer. Home Advisor's customer is the roofing contractor. And what they buy is they buy your lead and contact information. They'll take and they'll resell it to as many people as they can. You'll get too many phone calls, and they're not that interested in how well things get fulfilled at the end of the day. They are They sell you the leads, and then they're out of it, right? That's all they have to do. And I think that, really replicating that network in orbit around a distributor could be very, very powerful.
Wow. So one, I think what we're talking about is, let's say, increasing the distributor's business by making more people aware of, let's say, why they're different or better. Okay.
Yes.
It would be one. And then the second part here is this idea about loyalty, because I look at distributors and say, okay, they all basically sell, and we're talking one-step distributors here, they all basically sell the same products from the same companies. And they all basically offer the same delivery, job site delivery, the same, and so they're kind of, and so they all kind of have to charge about the same price and so forth, and they're kind of really, it's really hard for them to stand out. And to me, they stand out on a national level about things they stand for and how they do things, and then even more importantly is how that individual branch manager, operates in that community. And so being able to make sure that people don't just look and say, oh, they're all the same. Who's got the lowest price today? Or who, in today's world, who has the product today, or who can get it the soonest. But that, all of a sudden when, wow, here is the distributor helping me to get, let's say, more, we'll just say more inquiries. Okay. Part of me is just like getting me on the radar screen of the homeowner, and then they can decide who they want to talk to. But if I'm not even on the radar screen, I won't be considered. And how much money that roofers spend today on pay-per-click and everything else that they, social media ads and so forth. So just to get those clicks. And if the distributor was getting some of that, supporting them as well, I think two things happen. One, it helps to lower the distributors, the contractors' cost, advertising costs. And number two, when they're associated with a distributor, all of a sudden it's a little bit like, okay, this well-known distributor says this is a good contractor. And also that it kind of also like it's like another little plus sign from the Better Business Bureau or something, and so I really like that. You also, Brian, I think, we talked earlier about this, but if I'm a distributor, I think I probably go, oh, well, why do I need any of this? Everybody knows who I am. Everybody knows where we are. What? I mean, if you're in the roofing business, you know that Beacon Roofing is here in Columbus, Ohio, and this is where we are, right? And you had some thoughts about how that wasn't exactly correct. Would you share those?
Yeah, so we did a little bit of research, and we found that there are, tens to hundreds of thousands of searches per month, depending on the building materials category, for people trying to find a supplier. So whether it's roofing supply or decking supply or vinyl siding dealer, there is a group of folks that aren't normally buying from you that need to know where to go. One. Two, there's a whole other group of people that are storm professionals running all around the country that do need to look you up. They need to find you, that you can serve through this channel. And so I think one of the big false assumptions today could be, one of the things that you mentioned, which is everybody knows who we are and where to find us. But the search data says, no, everybody doesn't know you yet. And there's a real chance to build new relationships and move your market share there.
Yeah, well, the other one I also think about, even if they do know, and let's just say that we're in a city where that we have a Beacon, an ABC, an SRS, and perhaps even a Gulf Eagle or something. But we've got, we'll say, 4 different choices that. in my experience, most of the time the contractor has a preferred distributor and a preferred location that they like to deal with. It's kind of like the what was the, it was it not Friends, but what was the TV show with everybody knows your name in the bar? It was Ted
Oh,
Danson.
Cheers.
Cheers. I mean, it's kind of like, you walk in there, everybody behind the counter knows who you are. And, and when they invite you to the summer fishing tournament or whatever they do, but, and so you kind of feel like, of course, I'm going to the best distributor because I'm smart. I wouldn't go to the other, if the other ones were better, I'd go there. So you just kind of have a built-in thing about, or maybe you had a poor experience with a distributor before, maybe you first started in business and they wouldn't give you the credit that you wanted or whatever, or there was some warranty issue that you wasn't handled well. And so I think that people kind of like tune out these other options. They're just not even in their head. And it's like, like I like Apple computers. So like Windows is not even in my head. I wouldn't, if I'm going to buy a new computer, I'm not even going to look at a Windows, right? So Windows has to kind of, be constantly, hey, Mark, I know you're not in the market today, but, if this is bothering you, you might want to look at a Windows. The same thing to me, we'll say Beacon versus ABC. That I know if I talk to somebody from any of those four companies, they could say, oh, well, this is why we are better. Okay, this is why we're better meeting the needs of the contractor in the community today. And they can convincingly and credibly tell that story. And then you get on a local basis and it gets even stronger about why that person can do that. And so I think to back up your thing about people don't know you, they may know you, like here in Boulder, I go because it's literally a block away. I go to Whole Foods for groceries, right? There are like, if I think about it, I know there's a King Soopers 2 blocks away, right? But it's not on it's like, I'm not aware of the King Soopers that I could buy lettuce at King Soopers, right? And so I think people make a mistake about thinking that people know we exist. I take it to kind of another more nuanced level about that is if they really think about it, they may, but it doesn't come to top of mind. It doesn't like, this distributor told me that it's going to take 2 weeks till they can get me this product. I wonder maybe if some of the other distributors maybe already have it in stock. I wonder in today's world of availability challenges, if somebody says, oh, I could get it sooner. So to me, it's a real opportunity right now because of, one of the reasons availability is for distributors to, be opening the playing field up a little bit more to getting more people to give them a try, and then hopefully not just deliver because we have the product, but give them a better customer experience. So they go, oh, I don't get treated that way at the distributor I usually buy from. So I think that could go a long way. And so I think, those are some big things now, because I remember when I first started in this, in marketing and sales for building material companies, one of my first clients was Owens Corning, that I was working for one of their agencies. And, we would every year put together a program for roofing contractors. So here's some site signs, here's some truck decals, here are, here's, even a how to sell course or something like that. And put together these different tools. And over time, you all of a sudden saw, distributors start to say, well, we don't need that anymore. We got our own. Okay. Like we have an ABC kit that we give to our contractors. We don't need an Owens Corning kit. So I've seen, like you mentioned, building websites and so forth. I've seen how distributors really stepped up their game, because probably 10 years ago, I was sitting there wondering, what's the future of distributors? Is there a future for distributors? Because you would always hear manufacturers kind of grumbling about, well, distributors take this much money and they don't do anything for it. and and I was like, wow, that's not a good place to be. But now, I've seen how the distributors, there's been a lot of consolidation, but they've taken that to me and really intelligently reinvested in their businesses. And, and whether it's in computer technology, or delivery trucks or whatever it is, but they're just really stepped up their game. And they are an essential part of these businesses. And so, but I think they have to keep looking. And so one of the things that comes to my mind is that recognition. The first aha that I think you and I had was, let's say that I carry, what do we think a roofing distributor was it like 200 or 300 different companies they deal with or lines they carry? It was some number like that.
Yeah, they have a huge number of lines that they're carrying.
Yeah. And let's assume every one of those lines has a website, and every one of those websites has a locator. Okay. And are, you on that locator, and do you, let's say, is that locator represent you the way you would be like to be represented? And so it doesn't cost the manufacturer anything to improve your listing on their locator. Like, they don't have to write a check to Google or something. They just have to do it. But it's also you coming to them as a distributor saying, hey, this is what we expect. This is what we expect you to do with your locator, and to go in there proactively and literally have a program, and so that you get all, whatever it is, 300 companies like, hey, this is what we want. And the distributor has enough clout where the distributor asks for this, their salesperson's going to go to marketing saying, oh, this big distributor wants us to do this. And it isn't like they want you to spend $50,000 or help promote a NASCAR or something. It's like, no, just change this in your locator to better represent us.
Yeah,
it seems like a no-brainer.
It's not just low-hanging fruit. I mean, it's like a whole vineyard of opportunities here, right? It's as a digital person, the idea that I would have that many websites selling for me and feeding me things, and that I'm not leaning into that and improving it, right? That's probably one of the biggest opportunities I have.
Yeah, because all those companies, let's say, just picking a number here, 300, these 300 companies that you buy from, they are spending their money to promote their product, their brand, their website, to bring people to it. And then many of those people end up on the locator where, you hopefully are, but are probably look like just everybody else. It's really hard to say, oh, why? What's the difference between these different? Why is this company better? Because, and it's not price. It's like it's like, which company is going to better serve my needs? I'm going to be a more successful. We keep talking roofing, but there's many types of one-step distributors. But I'm going to be a better roofing contractor. It looks like this distributor would help me be more successful. Is where I think you want to get to, and something as simple as the locator, you ought to be able to tell that story. Yeah. And like, wow, like that was a big aha for me. And then the other thoughts that I really liked your other thinking about getting further into it, to use things like this to further enhance your relationship or loyalty with the contractors, and probably even attract some new contractors, because you're helping contractors to get more business, because they're being considered more often. They're on more people's list of possible people they're going to talk to. And also there's kind of, anytime a third party lists somebody on there, it kind of gives a little more credibility than if you're just touting yourself. And so I know, I think there's a lot. And the other one, Brian, don't you think about, if a distributor's doing something nationally, and it could be, I forget what month is National Women in Roofing's Month or whatever, but it could be a charity thing. It could be something that they're supporting. It could be that they're nationally doing something. That they also can use, all of those locators to tell that story. So if I look at the Columbus, Ohio locator for roofing distributors and I see, oh, this distributor, in this month is having this special thing on promotion on underlayments or how to get in the gutter business or whatever they're doing. That's another place that, you can make more people aware of your effort and differentiate you, as well as, that you could do it locally. So if the Columbus, Ohio branch manager is going to have a Meet the Factory Reps this weekend event, he can stick that on all those manufacturers' locators, and not just rely on their own website to carry the load. They can get, all of those 300 manufacturers to be doing it. Those are some of the things I got really enthused about from you and I just kicking this around and exploring different ways to do this.
Yeah, I think on the pro side, absolutely. That is a whole network where you've got pros coming across your listings all the time. And if you have value adds to offer them, think about that as a place to deploy, right? All of your posts that say we're having an event, we're having a training, come by. That's going to be really powerful. Somebody asked me a while back, who I thought the Amazon of building materials was going to be. And I don't know who it's going to be, but I have thought about what the shape of that organization, whoever becomes it, is going to look like. And I think it is that combination of we have the installers, we have the products, and we can deliver it, right? That's really what that's going to look like. If I want to get my roof replaced, if I want to do a bathroom remodel, there's one place I can come, and I know that they have all the relationships already in place to facilitate that and make that possible and get material to my doorstep. I think that really is going to be what becomes the Amazon of building materials. And I think that, this is really a first step to making that a reality for the right distributor. And I hope one of them is out there listening, because I think we're going to be able to do some really great things for them.
Oh, I agree. I think that it seems to me everybody that has tried to become the Amazon of building materials, the place that they fall down is on that getting the product to where it needs to be. And so if you already have hundreds of locations around the United States, now you have the ability to get products where they need to be. And you also have the ability to bring the products in quantities that help offset some of the shipping costs than if I'm just buying, a pallet of something versus I'm buying a truckload of something.
Right.
And so, yeah, I agree totally with you that I think the distributors are in the best position to become that. And I've said this for a few years now, like I don't understand. I just keep waiting for Amazon to buy Lowe's and just be done with it, right? Just like they successfully bought Whole Foods, that they just buy Lowe's. And now the distributors and manufacturers are forced to service the Lowe's/Amazon business. And so I think that if somebody doesn't aggressively go after this, somebody else is going to, that I keep thinking is going to be Amazon. They probably have to have a kind of a, what's the next business we're going to go into? And I don't know where building materials is, if it's like number 10 on their list or the next thing on their list. But, everything seems like that would be what will happen if somebody doesn't get out ahead of them. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge most people run into when they go into that space is, people will come, and I've met a million of these guys. They come, oh, we want to set up a website to sell this. And, the challenge is it's not the utility of the website. It's is the channel aligned to support you and cooperate with you, right? Are the installers going to work with you? Is distribution going to be able to deliver for you? Is manufacturing going to back you up and support you, right? Because they generally have existing relationships that they don't want to disrupt. And I think the way forward is actually it's just sort of a gentle reshaping of the existing channels.
Yes.
It's just connecting the right dots in the right places. It's not a whole hog. Let's replace the whole industry with a website.
Right. Well, I think you bring up the right thing. It's got the I'll call it the estimating, in some cases the design, the estimating, the product, the installation, and within there realizing here's all the things you need. You don't just need deck board, okay? You need posts, connectors, railing, lighting, stairs. There's a whole series of things where usually it's like a company that makes one component that wants to sell that one component online, and most people are trying to complete a project or not trying to buy a component.
Yeah,
and
I think it gets a little more economically beneficial on the distribution side as well, because they don't have to rely on as much as you buy one particular brand, because they usually offer, here's a selection of brands, right? So they have kind of the options that a consumer may want to have.
Yes. Now, another angle that to me I think about here as we're talking, and that is that if I'm a building material manufacturer and I sell through a distributor, okay? Now I can either sit and wait until a distributor says, hey, can you do something better for us with your locator? I could also proactively go to the distributor saying, hey, we've got this thing here called a locator. We bring a lot of people to our website, and this many of them end up on this page. How could we, get more of that business to you, refer more to you? And so they could proactively, go, not wait for the distributor to come and ask about, they could go to, rate to, they could go to, rate to the, they could go ahead on their own and go to the distributor and put together, look, here's how we're going to improve our locator to tell your story. So tell us, like, why are you different? Why are you better? Give us that copy, maybe give us a picture, give us some testimony, whatever it is. But I think that's another thing that we hadn't thought about, because we were so looking at, wow, what an unrecognized opportunity for distributors, which it is, but then also to say, okay, I want to get more attention from these big distributors as a manufacturer. One way is to proactively do things better. When we first found out about Bullseye Location software, which does location software for building material companies, and we first became, a number of months ago, aware of it, and we listened and we said, wait a minute, why don't more people know about this? This makes sense. and so as we've been helping some other building material companies to improve their locator, we've also been looking for, what are other ways that a locator could be used? And I kind of look and say that there's the basic locator that we all know what it is. It's a map and it calculates distance and so forth. And then there's what I like to think of as an advanced locator that has more features and makes it easier for me, the customer, to help choose the right who should I talk to for my instance. And that's what I think is and also it keeps the company involved in the transaction. So if I've worked really hard, now when I go to pick a dealer, if you're using an advanced locator like Bullseye, then that I just reached out to this dealer. And so your sales rep can now follow up with the dealer. Hey, did you get that lead from that Mark Mitchell guy? What did he want? Anything I can do to help you? So they're less likely to be switching them to another product or losing the sale in total. So I just wanted to, say that give you the background of what prompted Brian and I to be doing this. And then as we were just brainstorming, talking about different things, we kind of went, wait a minute, what about distributors? Aren't they missing missing an opportunity going at it the other way? We've been looking from the manufacturer through the distributor dealer to the contractor. And what if we looked backwards going, from the distributor back to the manufacturer? And it just all of a sudden started to make sense. So, Brian, any other thoughts you want to share or anything?
No, I think this is a really exciting path, and I'm really eager to see somebody take advantage of it.
Yes. Okay. Well, thanks again, Brian, for being on here with us today. And I hope our listeners got something good they can think about. If they're a manufacturer, take a look at your locator and take a look and say, how can you better support some of your better customers like distributors? And if you're a distributor, is there a real unrecognized opportunity here that could give you some real competitive advantage very, very affordably, is I guess how I look at it. So hopefully you've gotten something, and we'll talk to you the next time that we're back around in a week or so. And if there's any, if this is of value you found, please share it with other people in your organization. And let me know if there's any subjects that you'd like us to cover in future episodes. Take care.